Okay, guys. Thank you for coming. We have a lot of different things to discuss today. I believe you like the talk today, and but again, it's a little theoric that we study today. We introduce you a lot of new topics. I believe the two topics today, the 6.3 and 6.4, and I believe you like because we discussed today about the sensors and the smart object in a little more detail. Also, we discussed about the networking technology. Again, we only perform a short introduction, not a real. It's not in detail because again, the network course, it happens in the next semester. You don't have the required background to go deep. The idea is only to show the technology, explain how you use it, okay? But not go so deep. And yes, I believe it's the last theoric part. And the next class is I will realize a hands-on using the clouds and other things, okay? But before I start, I would like to reinforce the activity that you need to submit today. Give me a second to share my screen. The activity 6.22, okay? Arquiteturas de nube de IoT, okay? I would like to listen. Did you finalize this activity or not? My question is a little different. Do you need more time to finalize this activity or not?
Not yet.
You don't need, okay? Okay, chat. Okay, Daniel asked for yes. Okay. Yes, no problem. I can move the activity to Friday. You have more time to do. But I just only for the people that need, okay, if you already finalize it, it's not a problem. I move, okay, and I move now. To Friday. Okay, now you have a new time to finalize. But you have a new, after the class today, you have a new activity. This activity is very easy, okay? You only need to watch course, okay? You don't need to do nothing in particular. You don't need to implement, writing, no. You need to, this activity is a continuation of the last class. You need to create a free account in the Microsoft Azure, okay? This account here, you don't need to use credit card, okay? You don't need to use credit card, okay? It's very easy. It's really easy to create this account. However, if you need more support, you can watch this video here, okay? But it's next finish, okay? Next finish. When you click here in this website here, when you click here, you ask it to set your email. You need to use the tech email to create this account and follow next finish until the end, okay? After you create the account, you realize 3 courses here, okay? Oh my gosh. No, it's not a link. Oh, give me a second. I need to submit the link. Second, where is it? I missed to submit the link. Sorry.
No se preocupe, profe.
Sorry?
No se preocupe, profe, suele pasar así. Muchas gracias.
Poderia falar um pouco mais devagar, com mais fácil? Não entendi.
Nada, profesor.
I need to submit the link. Give me a second. Okay, and during the interval, I will put the correct link here. Okay, I missed to put the link. In this link, you have 3 courses: Introduction to Azure Fundamentals, discuss Azure Fundamental concept, and describe the core Azure components. Which course has around 40 minutes to finalize. Okay, this course is a very basic course to explain the generic things, the high level, the Azure. Okay. What you do, you realize the 3 cores, finalize it, you receive, give me a second, you receive at the end of each course, you receive, no, you receive this one. Okay, I found. For each course, you receive a badge, okay? And you can go here and click, for example, here. You can print the badge that you finalize, okay? You print this certificate and you submit this certificate of each course here using zip file, okay? You submit this, the submission of this activity is the zip file of the PDF of the certificate. Did you understand?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, and we'll do the due date is 10, is the next Monday, okay? And why it's required? Because in the next class we will go, we'll do one hands-on. A lot of the 4th class is about the 4 hands-on about the how to use the cloud and how to implement the things, a very basic scenario, end-to-end, use the cloud, okay? And we realize this hands-on as exercise in the next class. And it's a good idea to already have an account and have a big idea of what is Azure, okay? So for the next class, remember, I send a message to explain what you, for example, it's which tools do you need to have to perform in the lab, okay? But I send a message maybe until Wednesday about which tools you need. Okay, any questions? No?
No de momento, profesor.
Okay. So, okay, now this activity, the due date is 7 October, next Friday. And this activity is until Monday, okay?
Okay.
And I will update during the break. I will put the link of this activity here, okay? I need a break. I will update the links, okay? To simplify, to find. So now we start the unit 6.3 is about the smart object. Do you have any question about the topic that you discussed last week? Do you have any question about what you discussed? No questions? Okay.
Nothing.
So today we will revisit the smart object. Okay. Remember, we'll discuss about the smart object in the next class, where you the exercise that I asked you to do last week is about the using the smart object to automate a house. Okay, but today we'll go a little more deep about this concept. First is what is a smart object? We already discussed this concept before, but in the general, if I summarize this concept, the keyword is this one. Smart object is object that interact with other object. Okay, if this object interact with other object, you have a smart object. Okay, for example, your smartphone. Your smartphone is a smart object because it can interact, for example, with your air conditioner, your cafeteria, and your a lot of other devices that you have in your environment. Another one is you have a medical device, you have a data collection device, you have a lot of other smart objects today in the home, in the companies. A smart object is compounded by sensors and actuators. What is a sensor and actuators? A sensor is a device that has capacity, that is a device that has capacity to make physical measures. For example, temperature, the humidity, the angle, any other types of heart conditions, and others. Okay, and an actuator is a device that can receive commands from another device. Okay, for example, if you have a door in the exercise, the homework example, you have a window that is open or closed based in the temperature. So to open or close one window, you need to have a motor, a servo motor that acts inside the windows. Okay. The actuator is a device that can receive command, for example, from an external sensor, okay, and produce an actions, okay. A good example of sensors that a smartphone has, for example, a smartphone has a camera, proximity sensors, magnetometer, accelerometer, humidity sensor, gyroscope, moisture sensor, microphone, fingerprinters, digital barometric pressure, thermometer, touchscreen, and others. Okay, a smartphone is a very complex sensor because it has a lot of different sensors. There are some purposes that all smart objects that need to have. First, need to have sensor and need to have actuators. Okay, but today, a smart object needs to have a communication device, like, for example, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and others. Need to have a power source. Sometimes it's a battery, sometimes it's a solar wind, solar source, or sometimes it's a cable, electric cable. And a thin low cost computer. It's a very nice approach, but it's not the approach of the smartphone. Okay, smartphone is a completely different, but the basic smart device, smart object that you have in, for example, in IoT, don't have a lot of power, don't have a lot of power. It's not a very strong capacity to process or to memory. It's a very teeny capacity. For example, my smartwatch don't have a lot of capacity. It's a very simplistic computer that it has. And the reason is because this device is using battery most of the time. And because using battery, it's a good idea that these components don't consume a lot of energy. And to don't consume a lot of energy, need to don't produce or don't calculate a very complex test. And it's the reason. Any question here?
Nope.
The trends in smart objects. First, the size is decreasing. Okay. In Brazil, my company developed drones. Okay, to make inspections, to transport cargo. Okay, and in particular about the inspections, we use most of the time two types of sensors: visual cameras, like you have in your smartphone, and infrared cameras. And the drones that we developers is a very, it's not so small, but the wave is a big problem. This drone cannot, for example, if you have a very heavy camera, you need to replace camera for fuel. Okay, if you want to fly more, you need to load. The payload needs to be light. But if you increase the weight of the payload, you decrease the endurance of the aircraft. Okay. One thing that we're looking for a lot all the time is to find device sensors, small sensors, so small as so possible. For example, in the beginning of our project, the infrared sensor that you use is a very big. It's like it's the size of one smartphone, like that. Now, the sensor that you use to record the infrared is around, is a very small, it's something like that. Okay, this size. And we continue to looking for so smaller one, because if you find a smaller one, you can transport more things, you can fly more long and more far, and you can perform your mission better. Okay, it's one trend. The size is decreasing. Another thing is the power consumption is decreasing. It's the same. For example, one aircraft that you have, that I have, is using the gas. Okay, another one uses battery. The better one In the beginning, this camera, the big camera, consumes a lot of power. You need to use the batteries. Most of the time is to produce energy to this camera. Now you change the camera and you decrease the consumption of the power. Okay. Consequently, you can fly more. It's the same. For example, in the IoT, things only IoT, if you decrease the power consumption, you increase the number of days that the system can be unsupervised. In other words, you can, for example, you have a lot of sensors that you install in the jungle, for example, and it's very difficult to replace batteries inside the jungle. You need to do it one time a year, for example. And if you decrease the power consumption, you increase the time of life of the system. The process power is increasing. It's very easy to understand when you think about the smartphone. Day by day, the smartphone increases your power without increase the size and without increase the power consumption. I remember in the first time that when appears the first iPhone has a very process power, however, consume a lot of battery. Now you have equalization of these things. You have a strong power process, but you don't increase the power consumption. The project, for example, I have some friends, two friends that work in the Apple and design the power consumption system. And they said that in any project in the Apple, you can do anything, but you cannot increase the power consumption. The power consumption needs to be the same. If you change the processor, you cannot increase the power consumption. Okay, to keep the battery alive, you don't need to recharge the smartphone out a lot of time during the day. The communication capabilities are improving. For example, now you start to use the 5G in the world, and it's changed the types of application that you can do using the smartphone. And finally, the communication is being increasingly standardized. In the past, in the beginning of the cell phone systems, you have a 3-4 standard. Now you have one. You continue to have for example, the 5G standardized by 3GPP. The China, for example, don't follow the 3GPP completely, but follow part of the 3GPP. The Russia too is the same. We don't follow completely the 3GPP standard for 5G, but the people try to standardize. Okay, in the past you have, for example, the CDMA, the GSM, and all. Cannot remember the name. It's 3 or 4 standards. Not now is one standard, but you have different country by country. But you have only one standard. Okay. The consequence is you have more products. For example, one smartphone from Apple, there is a good chance that you work in any 5G system that you have in the world. Maybe some features does not work, but in the general, you work. Any questions until here, guys?
No, teacher.
Yo sí. ¿Realmente vamos a poder tener un límite en esto? ¿O cuándo es que podemos llegar a pensar de una función que no necesitemos?
Okay. For example, I can just remember when. I believe in 4 years ago, my company worked in a big project with electric sector here in Brazil. And the project is to install a new network, a very big network. Like to understand the network cover that we designed and installed is close to the area is like a 10 Mexico City. It's more or less like that. Okay, the area that this network is implanted is around 10 Mexico City area. And we need to use the LTE. LTE you see today, LTE is between the 4G and 5G. We use the LTE, for example, to industry or to IoT. Okay. And the problem of the LTE or the problem of the 5G is the frequency is a licensed frequency. What it means is a frequency that you need to have authorization from the government to use. It's not a free frequency like the Wi-Fi. No, it's a frequency. It's a licensed frequency that you need to have the authorization of the government to use. It's common, for example, when you 5G in the Mexico. I cannot remember exactly all the companies that provide internet from Mexico, but for example, the 5G, you have the AT&T, for example, is one company that provide 5G. This company needs to participate in a bid, okay, with other companies, and this company buy part of the frequency to use, okay? For example, in Mexico, you have Claro, no? Yes, I'm correct or no? Okay, you have a Claro, AT&T, you have others. This company participated in a bid, and buy part of this frequency to use with your users. And what is the reason? The reason is because it's different than Wi-Fi. In the Wi-Fi, its work or not work is not a problem for one. For example, when you buy, for example, a new router installed in your home, if you have a friend that has another router close to your router, the router of your friend interfere in your router, and you can do nothing because you use a free frequency. Okay, and the 5G, LTE, 4G, and others, you need to assure that the quality of the link that you provide. For example, Claro, when you install the 5G in your smartphone, need to provide the quality of service. And to provide the quality of service, you need to assure that the frequency is yours. Did you understand, Pedro? The reason?
Okay. Sí, profesor, muchas gracias.
Pero não respondi o que contestaste. Again, in that time, I installed a big network, use LTE that is, again, today, at the end of the day, you understand these terms, okay? LTE, 5G, and others. But LTE is technology like between 4G and 5G, okay, to use in IoT. And we have two solutions. One solution is to use a licensed frequency. To use a licensed frequency, you need to hire or contract a company like a Claro or like AT&T to provide the telecommunication to our network. The second solution is to use a Hawaii, is a China. I cannot a Hawaii. I cannot say. I don't know how to pronounce it in Mexico. You have a lot of smartphones from this company here, guys. Give me a second. There are some companies that is very complicated to proceed for me. How I know? China. Não é Hawaii. Give me a second. Ah, pronto. This one.
It's Huawei?
Yes. It's very complicated to pronounce it, okay? So this company has one equipment that don't use a frequency license, okay? You can use it use one frequency that is not standardized to license. It's a free frequency, okay? However, it's not follow complete the 3GPP. What you need to do, my company needs to do in that time, you analyze the 3GPP and analyze the version of the 5 LTE from Huawei, okay? And what you're looking for example, one big requirement is security. And we analyze how the 3GPP defines that the security need to have, and analyze what this company implement in your model, okay? Again, you need to answer your question, okay, Pedro? You need to analyze your requirements, and you need to check the specification of the implementation of the standard in the company to see what is the difference, okay? Again, if you use Ericsson, if you use, what's the other? Ericsson, LG, Ericsson. If you use, for example, Nokia, Occidental companies, for example, companies from the Occident, like from the United States, Canada, Sweden, or in other words, companies that is from the Occidental or the West, no? There is a good chance that you follow the 3GPP. But if you use, for example, companies from China or Asia or from Russia, for example, you need to check, make a double check, because sometimes it's not complete follow the standardization. On exceptions is the Indian, okay? Indian, most of the time follow our standards. Did you understand? Again, it's not a political comment, okay? It's the reality, okay? For example, I like this equipment. The definition which equipment is installed is not our definition. We define 2 or 3 equipment and asking for the company that you provide the service. Which equipment do you want? And they define to use this equipment, the shiny equipment. And we need to study a lot the security and the network, in a lot of network and telecommunication spec, to check if the use of this system affect any law in Brazil. Okay, you need to check, and you did that this work is not, you don't have a big issues. There are some security issues, but it's not so important to the requirements. Okay, it's important, for example, to use in the government, but it's not important to use, for example, in the private sector. And we installed this equipment and it's working now. Okay. Did I answer your question, Pedro? I believe now, yes.
Sí, profesor, ya le entiendo, ya le entendí mejor.
Okay.
Muchas gracias.
This picture here, let's show you have not smart and smart. Remember, smart object. The object interacts with other object. Okay, you have one device that interacts with other device. If the device does not interact with the other device, but only interact with a server, remote server, it's not a smart object. It's not smart. Okay. So, any question, guys?
Teacher, what is the meaning of LTE?
The meaning of this term is, give me a second, I will show. LTE is long-term evolution. Okay. Again, we studied this. We studied today. Okay. Don't worry now. But in the we feel things about the cell phone evolution. I believe you see my whiteboard. Am I correct?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So in the beginning, you have CDMA and GSM. The next evolution is the 3G. Okay. The next one is the 4G. And you have a requirement to here, until here, you have only smartphones. Okay. And you have some machine-to-machine device. What is a machine-to-machine? Is, for example, do you know the, what's the name? The machine to buy using the credit card in the mall. This one. Give me a second. This machine here. Oops. This machine, do you know what is it? No? Okay.
Yes.
This machine, most of the time, use it's the name. When you install a lot of this machine, you say that is M2M or machine-to-machine device. Okay. To integrate these equipment, back to the whiteboard. In this time, okay, you integrate smartphone in this type of device. Okay. You use 4G. However, 4G is not real good to use in this type of system. Okay, you have a lot of possibilities, but this type of mission you have only small commands that you need to. The difference is when you think about one simple smartphone, what is important? What's important here is availability. Okay. The second is the security. But integrity of the message is not so important. Why I'm doing it? Because here, if you send a message that is the data is lost during the transmission of the data, you can send again. Okay. And here you have another thing that you use videos, voice, and etc. Here, you need to have availability, but security is not so important. What is more important? Integrity. Why? For example, when you type pay 100 pesos, okay? You need to assure that in the target system arrive, the target system receive 100 pesos, not 90 pesos, not 1,000 pesos. Did you understand? Integrity is more important, okay? It's a small data that you transfer. Don't use videos. And security is important, but integrity not so important than integrity. Integrity is much more important. Did you understand?
Yes.
Okay. Because after in the middle, you develop a new standard that's LTE. LTE is used only for IoT device, okay? Only to M2M systems. You didn't find, for example, LTE, for example, to users consume. You found, but it's not so common, okay? And now you have the 5G, okay? You study these technologies today in the next hour. Okay. Any questions, guys? Did I answer your question?
Yes, teacher. Thank you.
Any questions? If you don't have any questions, you give a break, 10 minutes break or 15 minutes break. Okay. We return on 5. Okay.
Thank you, teacher.
Yeah, thank you.
Obrigado, professor.
Okay. See you soon, guys.